What if the history we learn in school, what if it's missing a huge piece of the puzzle? I'm talking about a world-altering chapter. Today we're going to dive into a pretty wild theory, one that comes from some of the oldest writings on Earth. And it suggests that humanity, we didn't just evolve, we were engineered.
So let me ask you this. We're all taught that human evolution was this slow, steady climb, right? Just a natural process here on Earth. But what if something else was going on? What if there was some kind of outside influence, a push that just skyrocketed our development in ways we can't even wrap our heads around? That one question, that's the key to this whole story.
All right, to really get this, we can't start here on Earth. We have to go somewhere else, way out there. Imagine a distant planet, home to this incredibly advanced civilization, and they are on the brink of total collapse. And the mission they set out on, it wasn't about conquest, it wasn't about exploration, no. This was about one thing and one thing only, pure, desperate survival.
So who are these beings we're talking about? Well, they're called the Anunnaki. And listen, according to these ancient tablets, they weren't gods or spirits or anything like that. They were real, physical, biological beings with technology far beyond our own. And they came from a planet right here in our own solar system called Nibiru, a planet with this massive, long orbit that only brings it close to us every few thousand years.
Yeah, Nibiru. That was their home. And the story goes that this amazing world with all its incredible technology was dying. It was facing a massive environmental catastrophe. Their atmosphere, it was literally falling apart, tearing open. And if they didn't do something, deadly radiation from their sun would wipe them out. For good.
So what was their plan? Well, their scientists came up with this really specific, almost elegant solution. They figured out that if they could get their hands on huge amounts of gold, grind it down to this super fine powder, and then spray it up into their atmosphere, it would act like a shield, a reflective shield that could literally heal their planet. And just like that, the survival of their entire civilization came down to one thing. They had to find gold. Lots of it.
Okay, now to really wrap your head around this, you have to completely reset your sense of time. We're not talking about a few thousand years ago, like ancient Rome or Egypt. No. The texts say this all started, their first arrival on Earth, about 450,000 years ago. Just let that number sink in. It's a timescale that's almost impossible to really comprehend.
So they're searching the solar system for this one precious metal, the only thing that can save them. And that search leads them right here, to us. This little blue and green planet, third from the sun, that just happened to be packed with the one thing they needed most. And that's when it all started. Their massive, ambitious plan, the Great Earth Project.
And they didn't waste any time. They moved with total precision. First, they arrive, they scan the planet, and they splash down in the Persian Gulf. Then, they set up their first base, a city they called Eridu, which means home in the far away, right in modern-day southern Iraq. And from that base, they kicked off the real mission, a huge industrial-scale gold mining operation in Southeastern Africa. So everything seems to be going according to plan, right? I mean, they've got the tech to travel across space, they know where the gold is, they've got the team, but here's the thing. It's one thing to be a super advanced astronaut, and it's another thing entirely to do backbreaking labor in a mine on an alien planet. And their whole grand project was about to hit a major wall.
And the ancient tablets are actually really blunt about what happened. They basically say, due to labor difficulties, the Anunnaki who were sent to do the mining, they started to rebel. They mutinied. The work was just too hard. The conditions were awful. Think about that. The very people who crossed the solar system to save their world are now on strike. The entire mission was about to fail.
Okay, so now you've got this massive crisis. Millions of miles from home, the workers are in open revolt. So the leaders, including their chief scientist, a guy named Enki, they had to come up with a new plan. And the idea they landed on, it was radical, it was bold, and honestly, it's the absolute heart of this entire theory. They realized, if you can't find the workers you need, you'll just have to make them. So they looked at what they had to work with. It was like a science experiment. On one side, you have their own DNA, right? It's got the code for high intelligence, for self-awareness, all the advanced stuff. And on the other side, you've got this native creature already living on Earth, an early hominids that was already perfectly built for the planet's environment. And then they had that aha moment. They didn't have to choose. They could just combine the two. And that's it. That was the big idea. The solution wasn't better machines. It was a better worker. The plan was to use their incredible knowledge of genetics to basically upgrade a local creature.
to create a brand new being, modeled after themselves, smart enough to follow orders, but simple enough to do the work without complaining. So how did they do it? Let's break it down. Step 1, they isolate the specific genes from their own DNA that are responsible for intelligence. Step 2, they take an egg from a female hominid on Earth and basically combine it with their own genetic code, kind of like in vitro fertilization. And step 3, the result of that combination, carried to term by Anunnaki surrogates, was a completely new species, Homo sapiens, us.
So let's just recap the core of this whole thing. The why? It was purely practical. They needed a primitive worker to solve their labor shortage in the mines. The how? Through incredible genetic engineering, mixing their own DNA with the DNA of a native Earth creature. And the what? The result? Well, the sudden, almost mysterious appearance of modern humans on this planet.
And that's really where this ancient story leaves us. It's an idea that just completely flips our whole understanding of who we are, right? It suggests we're not just the end product of random evolution, but that we were designed for a reason. And look, whether you buy into this story or not, it forces you to ask a really big question. If we were created to help with their mission, then what in the world is our mission now?